What's going on, Meta fan? This is part two, that's right, of the Nextbridge press release. This is the second press release. So today, as the recording of this here, it is day 427 days since the MMTLP U3 halt. So let's get into this press release here. Here you can see Checkmate FINRA here. It's a nice picture there. I love it. All right. This here is a pretty lengthy press release, so I'm going to deactivate the camera. We're going to zoom in on this, and we're going to break it down as best we can here. So here it says, our company has reviewed recent written responses with FINRA SEC regarding the U3 halt of a Series A preferred shares of MetaMaterials that traded under the ticker symbol MMTLP and potentially outstanding short positions in Nextbridge. We have further been made aware of calls by Congressman Ralph Norman for a congressional hearing regarding MMTLP, which we and our chairman would greatly participate and help supplement the factual record of relevant events. Nextbridge management has differing perspectives on certain key points expressed by FINRA in its letter. We will share these perspectives if given the opportunity in a meeting where we are actively working to schedule with representatives of FINRA and SEC's Office of General Counsel. However, we hope the meeting can largely be devoted to discussing forward-looking and productive options for jointly addressing ongoing investor concerns. All right, here we go. There we go. Nextbridge firmly believes that we and our investors have the right to know, and Congress and SEC have an interest and duty to understand the total aggregate outstanding uncovered short positions held by foreign and domestic institutions that exceed the issued and outstanding shares of our company. Unfortunately, this important figure remains unknown. We call on FINRA and SEC to take more proactive ownership role in completing the necessary accounting for several key reasons. First, FINRA and SEC have access to resources, investigatory powers, and foreign information sharing tools, and we rely on them to serve as champions of the full and complete trading facts for investing public in U.S. companies whose securities are publicly traded under their oversight. Second, we believe this information is necessary to help clarify potential misleading information that have been disseminated to investors and the public. FINRA issued an Investors Insight FAQ on its website stating there was an aggregated short interest position MMTLP in accounts held at broker-dealers as of December 12th of approximately 2.65 million shares out of 165.47 million shares total outstanding. FINRA went on to characterize this volume as not significant. We infer no intent to mislead by FINRA, but we note this statement was not qualified to make clear that the scope of the data available to FINRA under the investigatory powers it cited was limited, and thus implied a categorical summation of the entire uncovered short interest position in Nextbridge. Subsequent to our most recent press release of January 19, 2024, calling for short interest data from all sources, foreign or domestic, whether registered with FINRA or not. We observed that FINRA clarified in its letter to Congressman Norman that the short interest figure it cited was not only U.S.-based member data, but not that of domestic or foreign non-member entities that could act as custodians or agents holding securities for others, including foreign registered broker-dealers. However, it repeated its assertion that the short interest position it saw was nominal. Unfortunately, we believe this is a consequential blind spot in FINRA's data because the firms have approached Nextbridge about procuring more than 2.65 million shares. So guys, Nextbridge is saying here again in this press release that they have been approached by, people to purchase more than 2.65 million shares, but FINRA is saying that's all that is out there. If FINRA is unable to report the entire universe of outstanding uncovered short positions in Nextbridge, including short interest positions held via foreign brokers, we request they maintain full transparency of this fact in communications with interest parties and refrain from descriptions of short interest, and they're inconsequential until this is borne out via comprehensive investigation. We also believe further clarification regarding the limits of data available to FINRA would be helpful for investors. Our company is also concerned that uncovered short selling activity that might have been carried out by entities that are also exempt from SEC registration or via transactions that are otherwise exempt from reporting. We understand that the SEC does not disclose any details regarding its investigatory activities, but our concern is that the SEC's letter refers to Congress to FINRA that our company, for share data Congress seeks, which is explained, will not likely result in a full picture. We are happy to provide any information that may be beneficial in helping the SEC scope the necessary sources for data collection in any investigation it may elect to undertake in the future, including any that may require the cooperation of foreign counterparts. All right, this next one here is a little lengthy one. It's going to go into a lot of detail here. Bear with me as I grab a drink before we dig into this one, guys. Third, we believe there is on us at FINRA to help resolve the ongoing investor concerns due to the role played in the events that led to the U3 halt and the subsequent confusion resulting from the halt itself. FINRA stated that it determined the U3 halt was necessary and appropriate to protect investors and ensure fair and orderly marketplace. Unfortunately, many investors continue to communicate great frustration that the halt accomplished quite the opposite and could have been avoided. We do not intend to litigate FINRA's decision-making in this release, but we would also like to ensure to clarify certain points on which we have divergent views from FINRA in regards to the corporate action announcing the NBH spinoff and subsequent U3 halt. Since the issues are actively being discussed in public releases to our investors and publicized letters to Congress, as an initial matter, we take issue with FINRA's repeated assertion that FINRA's role is limited to reviewing and processing corporate actions, submission, and announcing the corporate action to marketplace participants. Unless the corporate action documents is found to be deficit under Rule 6490, in which case FINRA may determine not to process the corporate action, we do not believe this describes the role that FINRA played in the MMTLP corporate action submission process, nor does it offer complete recitation of FINRA's authority under Rule 6490. First, FINRA drafted the initial and revised corporate actions notice on December 6th and the 8th of 2022, with an instruction that the issuer was not to edit or interpret and include language that we believe itself became source of market confusion. For example, while FINRA describes the notice to Congressman Norman as consistent with the information provided by MetaMaterials, it is notable that the notice actually introduced a new instruction that MMTLP shares would be deleted on December 13th, a date that never before contemplated or referenced by the issuers, and which many found difficult to reconcile with Meta's announcement that the distribution of Nextbridge shares would take place the very next day on December 14th. Indeed, it was never proposed to FINRA to add a December 13th cancellation date or deletion date, and adding such date created unnecessary restriction to the corporate action and shareholders of MMTLP. In addition, FINRA Rule 6490 allows it to refrain from processing requested corporate actions altogether if it determines not processing is necessary to protect investors and the public interest and maintain fair and orderly markets. In other words, the justification of FINRA ultimately used for the issuing of the U3 halt was to outset the process with any concerns that could have been addressed by the issuer. Instead, they evidently did not concern a compelling reason to reject the processing of the announcement, crafted a different announcement, and allowed trading to continue through December 8th, then initiated the U3 halt shortly thereafter when the markets were closed and all participants, short and long, were frozen. Since nothing regarding the corporate action and the issuers contemplated record of distribution dates, change between the corporate action was submitted to FINRA for review and the U3 halt was issued. Aside from the introduction of FINRA's own announcements, we remain confused as to why FINRA did not simply reject the corporate action announcement and the outset rather than just issuing the halt for extraordinary circumstances. To the great surprise of the issuer and retail investors, the end result was mass confusion that persists to this day amongst our investor base. Many who feel they were unnecessarily and unfairly denied 2 days of trading, and which have given parties with millions of short positions an opportunity to never close. Wow, what a press release that there was, guys. Let me get the camera back. If you're still here after that, thank you for still watching the video. Woo! Gotta get another drink after that one. All right. A couple quick things here. Dave Lauer here actually replied back to his own post from January 19th, where Nextbridge said that they were approached by representatives of the short sellers to buy more than the 2.65 million shares that FINRA has said they have. Dave Lauer says the Nextbridge saga continues with a new press release from the company in response to FINRA's response to Rep. Norman. A couple pretty notable statements in here. FINRA stated the short positions they are aware of is 2.65 million, while the company states foreign firms have approached Nextbridge about procuring more than 2.65 million shares. FINRA admitted to a blind spot in its response to Norman that it cannot see activity or positions in foreign non-members. The Nextbridge statement is pretty significant too, highlighting a massive loophole that many of us have often pointed out that enables abusive short selling and other types of market manipulation. Trading by firms that are exempt from SEC registration or via transactions that are otherwise exempt from reporting remains another massive hole that lead shares to being reported in brokerage accounts which never have been delivered. The SEC and DOJ really need to step up here, engage with the company and shareholders, and use every tool in its arsenal. This is nuts already and dragging on far too long. So I wanted to say thank you to Dave Lauer here for actually saying this last statement here, that the SEC and DOJ really need to step up here, engage with the company and the shareholders, and use every tool in its arsenal. This is nuts already and dragging on far too long. I cannot agree anymore. So thank you to Dave Lauer for actually making that comment. I did want to point one other comment out here. Gandalf here said, interesting that you completely ignored the fact FINRA broke their own rules. I would have expected you to call out FINRA since you are affiliated with them. So we will see if Dave Lauer will call out FINRA for ignoring the rule 6490 there, and not, like I said, even he said they're not using the tools, to help resolve this situation. So a lot of information here in that press release, and the comments here made by Dave Lauer I thought was pretty significant as well. Woo! That's need to take a breath on that one. So hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please smash the thumbs up, drop a comment down below. Love and appreciate every single one of you all. Peace.